Welcome to our virtual classroom. Join me for some fun learning. Hello, welcome to Storytime. It is Miss Nicole here. Thank you for joining Legacy Lineage Online Learning, and we are going to jump right into another one of our books that we are featuring, all about brown boys. Do you remember our last story? Our story that we used our sign in? Remember the B for brown, right? Brown boy, what will you be? And we clapped out lots of occupations. And before that, we read about Caribbean dreams, and we ended Caribbean dreams by saying, what do you want to be? What are you dreaming about being? And we also ended Caribbean dreams by Miss Nicole encouraging you to ask your parents to tell them a story about you. So after Caribbean dreams, we read a book about dreams and what your occupation might want to be. And I also said we would read a story about families and find out something about families and find out what might different families do and to learn more about it. So this story reminds me a little bit of my family. When I was a kid, I had a big family. I mean, I had three aunts and four uncles. My mom was one of them because my grandma had four daughters and four sons. So that gave Miss Nicole her mom and three aunts, and then I had four uncles. And we used to have really big dinners, especially Thanksgiving. And I always loved sitting around at the table, hearing my aunts and uncles talk and laugh and watching my grandma cook and the smells. One of the things I was always curious about was, how did my grandma know those recipes? I never, ever saw her look at a cookbook. And you know what? I never really saw her measure things. Now, Miss Nicole, even though I'm a pretty good cook, ask my kids, Miss Nicole likes to measure things, so when I do pancakes every morning or whenever I make them, I always measure. I never just dump the pancake mix and then say, oh, that's enough. I always take the 1 cup and measure it out, and then I measure out the water. Now, my grandma, I would see her cooking. You know what her measuring cup was? Her hand. And I think she figured out like maybe a handful equaled a cup, and maybe a pinch was really just a little bit of something, but that's the way she used to cook food. And you know what? I think that food tasted so much better because she just was putting the love in it. You know what they say, you put your foot in something? My grandma was putting love in that food. My grandma, Wilhelmina, used to make the most delicious fresh bread. As a matter of fact, the three top cooks in my family was my great-grandma, my grandma Wilhelmina, and my auntie Big Renee. She could throw down. Now, my auntie Big Renee used to have all of the latest equipment. Her food used to look like restaurant quality food. Like when she fried fish, it looked like a piece of fish that I had gotten from Friendly's or something like that. Oh my gosh. When my grandma baked bread, she had a bread maker, and it would just smell up no, my auntie Big Renee used to use the bread maker. My grandma Wilhelmina would actually make the bread, the dough and everything, and then she would put it in a little pan and let it sit, and then it would rise. Oh my gosh, me and one of my great friends used to love to have spaghetti with my grandma because she would always have the fresh bread with the butter, and the bread was warm and soft, and it would just melt. I'm getting hungry right now. What do you guys like to eat? Miss Nicole really likes to eat, and I really like to cook. And even though I only had half of the kids my grandma had, so my grandma had 8 kids, right? I had half of what my grandma had. See that? Did you see what's half of 8? You just learned that. 4. Let's look. That's 8. Let's count it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or we could say 4 plus 4 more make 8, right? Or we could say half of 8 is 4. So let's try that again. Half of 8 is 4. That's right. Now, let's try counting up to 8 in Spanish. All right, here we go. We said it in English, so let's do it in Espanol. Ready? Uno. If you don't know it, repeat after me, okay? Dos. Tres. Cuatro. Cinco. Seis. Siete. ocho, eight. That's right. Let's count backwards. 8, 7, 6. Nope, sorry. Let's try it again. Yeah, I'm right. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Miss Nicole got confused for a minute because I'm used to having up 10. All right, so let's do that again. We're going to count backwards from 8. Here we go. This is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We can do some addition in that too, okay? So if we say 4 plus 1 is 5, 4 plus 2 is 6, 4 plus 3 is 7, and 4 plus 4 is 8. Let's try some subtraction. 8 minus 1 is 7. 8 minus 2 is 6. 8 minus 3 is 5. 8 minus 4 is 4. 8 minus 5 is 3. 8 minus 6 is 2. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 8 minus 8 is 0. All right, here we go with full of love. All right, let's sing the story time song. I am reading, look at me, time to put the toys away and listen to what I say. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. This is the front of the book. It tells you the name of the story, full of love. And this is the back of the book. It lets you know it's the end. And this is the spine. It holds the book together. This is the front of the book. This is the back of the book. And this is the spine. And this is the spine. And I'm going to tell you something great about these two books. So I read a couple of books. Maybe, let's see, did I read anything by Ezra Jack Keats yet? Well, anyways, Ezra Jack Keats writes stories that I love. We read Goggles. So Goggles is by Ezra Jack Keats, and it is about a boy named Peter and Willie, and they are brown boys. But guess what? A secret about Ezra Jack Keats. Nothing bad. I mean, it's great. He's different. We talked about diversity. But Ezra Jack Keats is not a black man. Ezra Jack Keats is a different kind of man. He's a white man. White. He's a white man. But the stories that I'm reading, why I'm so excited about these that you see here, and this one, which is Brown Boy, What Can Be, and this story, and the next we're going to read, and then the one after that, and then I'll even share this book, is that they're all by brown people. This is a poetry book by African American children. Remember, I told you to dream big. You can be an author even at a young age. And this one is by a black doctor. She's a clinical psychologist when we talked about occupations. And this story is by an author who is a black woman as well. And this one, and this one, and those three. So let's jump into full of love. And on story time, I read stories by all different. But you know what I'm finding is important, especially for little black kids and brown kids? Representation is important. That means that when they turn on the TV, they see people looking like them, doing things that maybe they want to do, occupations that maybe they want to do. And when they look in books, they need to see pictures of themselves and families that they can relate to. And I really relate to this story. So that's what this week is about. That's what this theme is about. And I share all different kinds of multicultural things because I think diversity is important. But right now, more than ever, representation is important. Full of love. What are we full of? Love. On Sunday, Mama took JJ to Granny's house. I'll go get Dad, Mama said. I won't be long. Gran is soft and warm and full of hugs and kisses. Kiss, kiss, hugs and cuddles. Look at Grandma. She like, come here, baby. And he like, Grandma. My son is crazy over his grandma. She is like his favorite. Granny's cooking the dinner. The dinner smells yummy. Is dinner ready, Gran? Asked JJ. But Gran shook her head. Dinner's not ready yet, she said. Come, let's put out the dishes. Granny's cupboard is always full of colorful dishes. Clink, clatter, clink, clank, clatter, clatter. Oh, that's a tongue twister. I'm going to say that again. Clink, clank, clatter, clatter. Can you say that? Clink, clank, clatter, clatter. And you know what he's helping her do? Set the table. I remember as a child, my great-grandma always wanted me to know where the salad fork and the dinner fork and the dessert fork and the sugar spoon and all of those things were so important to her. And she had dishes too, lots of them, in a really nice cabinet, and especially for Thanksgiving on our long rectangle Thanksgiving table with the linen and lace tablecloth. So fancy my great-grandma was. And guess what? I see something right here, and I have it in my kitchen. This bowl right here looks like it's made of leaves. I'm going to try to get it close to you. I'm going to use the pointer because I like to use the pointer. Let's see. This bowl right here. Do you know Miss Nicole has one of those in her kitchen right now? It's like, it looks like cabbage leaves. It's pretty neat. And when Miss Nicole is not around and when her daughters start having kids, she's going to give that bowl to them so that they can use it to cook and make nice fruit salads. We love fruit salad called ambrosia. I got that recipe from my great-grandma. So maybe one day my daughters will make ambrosia in the cabbage bowl with their kids and talk about how their mom taught them how to make the same ambrosia that her great-grandma taught them how to make. And that, did you know, she never measured the food. She just used her hand. But my mom always measured the food. Anyway, back to full of love. But JJ was hungry. Is dinner ready now, he asked. Gran shook her head. Dinner's not ready yet, she said. Come, let's feed the fish. Granny's fish tank is full of all kinds of fishes. Splash, splish, wiggle, wiggle. Let's say that together. Splash, splish, wiggle, wiggle. Look at JJ just looking at all those fish. But JJ was hungry. So JJ what? Asked again. Is dinner ready now, Gran? What did Gran do? Gran shook her head. Dinner's not ready yet, she said. Come, let's. Then JJ saw the candy in the tin. And what did he do? Just like any kid would do. What did he do? Can you see? Now, he's pulling it down, but he couldn't reach on the top of the refrigerator, so he went and got himself a stool. And he reached up top there, and look, all of the candy's falling down. That's another thing I remember about my grandma. Lots of candy in her pocketbook. My great-grandma always had peppermints and these little, like, blue mints in her pocketbook all the time, wrapped up like that. So, JJ tried to get the candy tin, and it fell down. Granny's tin was full to the brim. Tip, tip, struggle, juggle. Can we say that together? Tip, tip, struggle, juggle. Gran said no, but seeing all that candy had made JJ even hungrier than before. So he asked again, is dinner nearly ready, Gran? Gran shook her head. Dinner's not ready yet, she said. Come on, let's look for the others. This reminds me of a saying that says, good things come to those who wait. Ooh, sometimes it's so hard to be patient. And I can imagine, can you imagine, let's think about what Gran's house smells like right now. She's cooking. How does it smell when your mom's cooking rice? Let's talk about rice. Rice is something that a lot of different people eat. Does your grandma or your mom or your granny or your Lala or your Jima or your Nana or Abuela, let's see, do they put beans in their rice? If so, how does it smell? Does your rice get cooked with coconut milk? Does it smell kind of sweet? How about, does your rice get cooked with adobo so it smells kind of spicy? Let's see, what else? I know sometimes I cook my rice and I use jasmine rice and it just has like this kind of fragrant smell. There's a special type of Indian rice too that has a fragrant smell. Let's think about some other things. What does your favorite meat smell like? I know some children might not eat meat, so what does your favorite vegetable smell like when it's cooking? I like to make broccoli in the oven. Ooh, and it smells so good. What else? Oh, sweet potatoes in the oven. They smell really good. What else can we think of? How does it smell when your favorite cookie or cake is being baked? So can you imagine what JJ is smelling right now? Hey, he's hungry. It's so hard to be patient. So now grandma is doing what grandmas do. She is doing other things to keep him busy, and he's learning things. He's learned how to set the table. Opportunity for grandma to teach him something about that. He learned about the fish and feeding the fish because she took some time to show him how to feed the fish. All of those are opportunities for JJ to learn during his day. That's called a teachable moment. Your parents will learn about that in my workshops. So anyways, so they looked out the window and they waited and waited. Tick, tock, snuggle, cuddle. More being patient. You know what? That's right. JJ is learning how to be patient. Then JJ saw a car come around the corner. Then another and another. The car stopped one behind the other and out they all came. Look, there's another brown boy. Boy, he looks happy, right? You think he's ready to get to Grand House to see JJ and eat? I bet they all look happy. Let's see how many people are coming to dinner at Grand's house. Let's count them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just like my grandma's kids. Remember I said she had 4 sons and 4 daughters. Now I don't know if these are sons or daughters or uncles or aunts or cousins, but they're part of the family. So we got 8. Right? Titis and tios is coming. Abuela and abuelo is coming. Mama and papa, papi, all coming to dinner, right? And cousins, niños and niñas, all coming. Let's see what happens. And it says it too. Uncles and aunties, cousins and friends, mama and daddy, all come for Sunday dinner at Granny's. Dinner must be ready now, Gran, JJ grinned. And Gran laughed. I think it is. See, the important thing was they were going to eat as a family. So dinner wasn't ready until the family came. So the food might have been prepared, but it wasn't ready to be enjoyed until everybody sat down together and had their meal together. And look at the happy faces. Eating together is very special. It's called breaking bread. That's what they used to call it, when you break bread. And you can do it with family or with friends. I know my daughter is thinking about having a Friendsgiving, which is different because you invite friends to come over for Thanksgiving and family too, but sometimes people just do their friends. Oh, but look at the food. I have another book like this, but I didn't bring it up, but it's like a Sunday, come Sunday with a picnic. Ooh, the spread. That's what they call it when all the food is laid out. The spread. That's what it used to be on my great-grandma's Thanksgiving table. The spread. Not only one table, but 2. She had the spread with hors d'oeuvres and her fancy punch bowl with the little punch cups hanging around. And it had the little sherbet floating in it. And you would take your little, we didn't use a ladle. You could use a ladle. But my grandmother was teaching me some Southern comfort and some Southern refinery. You actually take the punch cup by the little handle and you dip it in just enough. We have to use our manners. Now you can't do this, but back then people knew about etiquette, and that is how you do a thing the right way. Well, anyways, you would take the little punch cup and you would dip it in just enough, not so that you You don't splash your hand in, that's ill. You ruined the whole thing. You would not be invited back to Sunday dinner. But someone had taught you, just like JJ was taught, how to dip into that punch bowl. Mostly adults did it. And if you didn't feel comfortable doing it, you could use the ladle, but you dipped in and you kind of just wiped the bottom with your little napkin, and you had a cup of delicious punch. So she had the spread laid for the hors d'oeuvres and the punch, and she used to have persimmons, which are like these little oranges, and nuts would be on the table, all type of nuts. My favorite used to be Brazil nuts with the nutcracker. So I'm just telling you about my grandma's spread, because when my grandma did it, that southern etiquette and that southern refinery was there. That Thanksgiving table was spread. You know what I have to say? I still have yet to do it just like her. Can't do it any better. Things are just a little different, but that memory stays with me. So even when I make my spread, we sit down together, but this reminds me of the spread. Let's find out what they had on the spread. I got sidetracked, but I was sharing with you a little bit about me. Remember I said get to know about your parents. There were buttery peas, chicken and yams, macaroni and cheese, potatoes and ham, biscuits, gravy, collard greens, pasta salad, rice and red beans. There was apple pie and vanilla ice cream, fresh peach cobbler covered in steam, raspberry sauce, coffee and tea, plenty for everybody. Miss Nicole's mouth started watering. I almost was able to read all of that. Did you hear me stumbling? Boy, peach cobbler. And do you know what they call apple pie when you put the ice cream on it? It's called a la mode. So you have apple pie a la mode with ice cream is what that means. Fancy. So I'm going to let you look at this picture one more time of that spread. What would your spread be made of at your house? Could you make a picture of your spread? What would it look like? What would it be? There's another great book called Feast for 10. I'll have to find out. I don't know if that's by a black author, but that story is about a family that goes to the store and shops together to come home to cook together and sit down to have a family style meal, just like this story, A Feast for 10. But what would be on your feast? What would be in your spread? How would it be laid out? What would you have? What would your cultural dishes be? For some people, that could be enchiladas and chimichangas and quesadillas, or other foods that I might not know. For some people, that could be cannolis and lasagna and fresh pasta, gnocchi. For some people, that might look like ackee and saltfish, plantain, dumpling, curry goat, stewed chicken. What would your spread look like? Let's go on. JJ said, I'm going to pop. And cousin said, I have to stop. More pie, please, uncle said. And auntie and mama shook their heads. Not for me. I've had enough. Granny let out a big belly laugh. Dad said, just a little bit more on top of his cobbler. Gran started to pour more raspberry sauce. Everybody was full of Granny's dinner. Yum, yum, giggle, giggle. Look at them. All satiated and full of Granny's dinner, which was full of Granny's love, right? Then Granny pulled up a footstool, put her feet up inside. All right, you kids, one wash and one dry. And you know what? That's the best thing after you spend a hard day working or doing something, being able to sit down and enjoy it with your family, and then being able to rest. And look, that's the other thing we have to do. Remember we talked about in Caribbean Dreams where the elder was telling the kids a story almost at the very end, and I told you to learn something about your parents. Remember that part? I'm going to turn to that part in this book. Remember the elders? And we talked about it being grandparents, and this is JJ's elder, the grandma, and they are honoring her by cleaning up after all the hard work that she did for them. No back talk, just cleaning. On Sunday, JJ had dinner at Granny's house, and when it was time to go, he climbed up on Granny's lap, he kissed her, and she kissed him back, and they hugged and hugged and hugged. And full of hugs, misses grandma. I know I love my grandma. How about you? You love abuela? See. You love your nana or your Jima? Granny's house is always full of hugs and kisses, full of tasty dishes, full of all kinds of fishes, full to the brim with happy faces, full of love. That's Sunday dinner at Granny's house. Look at JJ. He's still got the love look in his eyes as he's laying there tired, waving at Granny. Bye, Granny. See you next week. His cousin is laughing and waving too. The end. This has been Story Time. Thank you for joining me for Full of Love. We have 2 more stories that we'll be featuring this week. See you then. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. And remember, you are the you in unique.